Hi, and welcome to day 3 here at the TechCrunch booth at CES. We're wrapping things up today, and we have a great show in store. We're going to be talking with Arduino. We're going to be making crepes live on stage, so that's pretty exciting. And of course, we have the finals of the hardware battlefield. So, without any further ado, let's kick off the day with the Gadgets podcast. I'm Jordan Crook.
Oh, that's my cue.
Yep.
I'm Matt Burns, and I'm writing a post.
Yep.
I'm Brian Heater, and I still sound like this.
I'm Tito Hamzy. Welcome.
You were supposed to be Devin. You don't look like Devin.
I'm filling in for Devin.
You also have your back turned to most of the crowd over there. This is a weird stage setup, but the camera guys are probably going to yell at me for saying that. But
You gotta cheat it, Tito.
Brian, you know what we should be talking about, right? You said to me earlier
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
CES is boring.
I said that this feels like a bit of an in-betweener year for me.
Why?
There are exciting CESs, and then there are CESs where I can't really point to anything or any few things that really feel like standout products to me. This was definitely the year of the smart home, as we've discussed a few times. But those are mostly minor devices. In a lot of cases, it's integration with Apple HomeKit or Amazon Alexa, things like that. But there's nothing that really jumps out at me.
Well, I mean, I've been talking a lot with people about how it's almost like this year is the year of, and just keep with me on this analogy, but like the year of ingredients, but we haven't baked them yet. So like AI has come such a long way, machine learning and stuff, so the hardware can follow along in those footsteps and become smarter and more predictive. And even like if you look at something like Anki, right? Like Anki made these little cars, race cars that are super smart with AI, and then they made this little Cosmo like toy robot. Like you know that they're just warming us up to the idea of like this all-powerful humanoid AI robot that will
Wall-E?
come one day.
Is it going to be Wally?
Maybe Wally is not all-powerful. I don't think Wally.
Well, he's a pretty clever little guy, though.
But you're also mentioning a product that was announced last year. I
Right.
mean,
But
what can you really point to that was announced at the show?
nothing. That's what I'm saying. But we're getting closer to like a fully baked product, right? Where we have Alexa.
Wait. Yeah, Alexa. You can now tell Alexa in your Ford car to order you toilet paper. That's pretty significant in my world.
Technically, you can also
Ew.
drive said car to the toilet paper store.
Well, Brian,
Yeah.
I mean, either you're with it
Brian.
or you're not. I'll be the one that's against technology. You're the gadgets dude.
I'm saying I understand why you would want to talk to your toaster and have your toaster order toilet paper, but you're already in your car, Jordan.
I want to be able to tell my toilet to order toilet paper because that's the clutch situation where you need it.
Can I tell you about the toaster I saw yesterday, the smart toaster that I saw yesterday?
You can, but can you take your badge off?
Oh.
I mean, I would take it off
How
for
will
you,
people
but
know
you're-
who I am?
You're sick, and I don't want to touch you.
So you know the company Griffin, they make like mostly iPhone cases and adapters and things like that. They have some smart home products at this show like everybody else. They have a smart coffee maker, no big deal, a smart mirror, slightly more of a big deal, and a toaster. And my favorite thing about the smart toaster is the app that it comes with. It's got a little slider, and on one side of the slider is an icon of a white piece of bread, and on the other side of the slider is an icon of a black piece of bread.
It says so much about
So
our
you
culture
can toast
today.
it to your
wait. So
perfection.
to change the intensity of the
Correct.
toaster, you have to get out your smartphone?
Yes.
You can't do it on the toaster itself.
I think there are
Drive it
buttons as
knob?
well, but why would you buy?
Wait, could you prank somebody, though? Could you do it from afar?
Yeah.
So if I'm here and my wife's home at CES, I could burn her toast?
If you're like a sick hacker, you could go and like burn the toast of everyone around the country all at the same time.
We're really fresh, and we're really awake this morning.
We
to
went
talk
to Top
you.
Golf last night, and Top Golf is a whole lot of fun.
Top golf is so much fun.
That's actually the highlight of this year's CES. That technology, that touch screen that doesn't type, was just everything.
Can I put a question out to the panel?
Please.
I think this is particularly relevant given what we do and where we are. We're next to the Eureka Park section of CES, and it's really, I think, become the most important part of the show over the last few years. This is where the most exciting startups are. The Samsungs and the Sonys, all the big companies are in the Las Vegas Convention Center. How do you think the role of startups has changed over the last couple of years?
I think they're far more important than they used to be, especially here at CES. And when you look at the media, I mean, we've always been obsessed with startups. So TechCrunch just wants startups. Sony can keep building TVs and whatever, you know. But you can see like mainstream media, like NBC and all these people really want to talk to the startups. They're here in Eureka Park now instead of hanging out at the Samsung booth, which I think is pretty interesting.
The role of the startup is growing here. These companies can exist and exhibit because of the companies at the other show. Because Sony and Samsung and GE and IBM and all these legacy companies, they have this internal need to support innovation. And a lot of the legacy and established companies have a hard time fostering that community inside their organizations. So they look to outside organizations, startups, to bring that innovation in. So they have hackathons now, and they buy small companies for 500.
In the case of
700,000.
Samsung, they actually have an in-house incubator.
Well, and they also just announced that next fund, right? That's 150 million that's going towards startups because, you know, that's the way to get the cool stuff.
So Tito and I were in South Korea a couple months ago. It was a good
Jordan
time, right?
was here too.
Oh, Jordan, you were there too.
Yeah,
Oh, cool.
thank
I
you.
was in New York, just working. It's fine.
So
Whatever.
we learned a lot about this. I forgot about you.
Yeah.
There was only
I
there was
didn't
only
forget
the
about
three
the
of
two
us.
of you.
But we learned a lot about the Samsung ecosystem and that they had to do these incubator programs because the government told them to. And because the government told them to, it's allowing a lot of lifers at Samsung, the guys that have been there for 20, 30 years, to finally spread their wings and apply the knowledge they've learned while working at Samsung their entire life. And they can go out into the world and they can build things. But the entire ecosystem there is not ready for that yet.
So it's kind of similar to what Google has been doing for a long time, but on the software front. But these people are launching smart belts within the larger umbrella of Samsung. I mean, obviously, if you're a company the size of a Samsung or Sony, it's really hard to make something super weird, super different. You've got such a large infrastructure in place that it takes, 2, 3, 4 person companies to really kind of push the envelope.
Absolutely. I mean, if you think about all the checks and balances, I mean, not in the case of Samsung because all their phones exploded, but like a Sony, right?
Well, just one phone exploded.
No, one model.
A lot of that phone exploded.
One model, many units. But like in the case of Sony or something like that, right? Like you have to go up so many ladders and layers to get even an idea approved. And then from there, you got to go and build it, and that also has to be approved. So things that could take 3 people, 6 months, take Sony 2 years because they have to keep going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. There's too many cooks in the kitchen.
It's a nice perfect storm because not only are they in a place to innovate, but they're doing exactly the sort of stuff that if you're a blogger meeting deadlines, or even if you're a journalist at the Today Show and you need to do a roundup of like weird and wacky stuff, like that's the eye candy, right? That's the exciting stuff. That's the stuff that you want in your clip reel.
I just had this brilliant idea, and maybe it's less brilliant, but since it's Saturday, if you're at home watching, I think you should take a shot every time you hear the word innovate on our stage.
Tito likes that game.
Tito will play with you.
I have a quick question. So, have any cars really stood out? Any automobiles stood out during the CES? Because you had Faraday Future
Sure.
announce stuff, and we did a video with Delphi. And
Faraday
Has any-
may have stood out for all the wrong reasons.
What happened here is that all the car makers that the Ford, GM, Toyota, BMW, they came here to show their high-tech technology that will be integrated into their future system. But there was 2 companies that launched a vehicle here. One was Faraday Future, which is just a big distraction to everybody and doesn't really matter at all. But then there was Lucid Motors.
Lucid, yeah, that's the
Yeah,
one
so
I've been hearing a lot about.
They did a lot of actual test driving. They didn't have a big flashy event like Faraday did, but they invited a lot of people to actually go, drive in the car that they made. It's 1,000 horsepower. It's a sedan. It's about the size of a Model S, so smaller than a Mercedes S-Class. But it's an electric car, and that's what we're seeing. But next week is the Detroit Auto Show. That's when you're going to see BMW and GM and Ford.
I think
announce
BMW
everything.
has a self-driving
demo
thing too.
Yeah.
I think we did it.
A lot of the big companies, they do have these demos, but Lucid was a brand new model.
I think you actually brought up a good point on the periphery there, which is the fact that the Detroit Motor Show is coming up, the fact that Mobile Congress is coming up. And all of these shows are really diluting CES right now. And it seems like part of the reason why we're in this in-between year is because they're really kind of searching for their identity. The show has changed so much over the last few years. They're trying to figure out, what the show is.
Hey, we got to wrap this up because it's time
to innovate.
Trivia.
Okay,
Jordan
yeah,
Crook.
it's trivia time.